expression of the firm's feeling toward you for the work you've done lately.
You mean I'm fired?
No, it's a check, our semi-annual bonus.
Bonus? Oh, that's different. Well, thanks, Mr. Honeywell. I can sure use this. Oh, gee, I just remembered something. Margie.
That's always an unnerving thought.
She's been trying to put the squeeze on me for a new car. And when she finds out about this...
Well, don't tell her then. Who's running your family anyway? Now, there's a silly question if I ever heard one.
Yes?
Mrs. Seaton is here to see you, Mr. Albright.
Oh, well, please send her right in.
This Seaton woman is the richest widow in New York State, and you better land her account.
Well, just leave everything in my strong, capable hands.
They better be capable. Mrs. Seaton is an old blue-nosed conservative. In fact, she's downright stuffy.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Well, don't just stand there. Open the window. Didn't you just say it was stuffy?
Yes. Mighty stuffy.
Please sit down, Mrs. Seaton. This is a delightful surprise. I didn't expect you until after lunch.
I'm afraid I shan't be able to keep our appointment, Mr. Albright. You see, an emergency meeting has been called by the Kagasork, which reminds me you simply must join Kagasork.
Oh, yes, by all means. Kagasork can count on me, I think.
Good. The Citizens Anti-Gambling and Suppression of Racketeers Committee needs everyone's support to rid our city of those despicable fiends, the professional gamblers.
Oh, yes, of course.
As chairman of Kagasork, I must attend this meeting, so you'll forgive me if I postpone our conference to another time.
Of course, Mrs. Seaton, but you really shouldn't put off turning your investments over to us. The stock market is paying off like a busted slot machine. More like stealing than speculation. Yes, sir.
Mr. Honeywell, speculation is gambling, and I think you know my views on that loathsome practice. Perhaps I'd better postpone my dealings with your firm indefinitely.
But please, I didn't mean... That is,
Now about our appointment. Couldn't we make it dinner tonight?
Well, I think that would be fine. Shall we say my hotel at about 8?
Perfect, eh? All right. Best food in town at the St. Regis. You can bet you'll have a wonderful dinner.
Mr. Albright does not bet, Mr. Honeywell. You do well to follow his example. Until tonight, then. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Seaton.
I ought to fire you for making a fool out of me.
But, Mr. Honeywell, you always say you're a self-made man.
Why, you...
Now, take it easy. Take it easy. I was only doing my job. Now, don't worry. I'll get Mrs. Seaton's account. I just wish this bonus problem were simple, but nothing is simple that Margie's mixed up in.
All right, the trouble with you is you're too soft when it comes to that daughter of yours. The only way to handle her is beat her to the punch.
Margie has never struck me in her life.
What I mean is you've got to outsmart a woman. When you think she's going to ask for money, steal her thunder. Tell her you lost a chunk in the market or something.
You mean enlist her sympathy?
Enlist draft it. Use the heavy artillery. Tell her you're having financial difficulties. Tell her your job isn't any too secure, which isn't more than a short putt from the truth.
That's a great idea. I'll appeal to her sympathies. It'll do Margie good to realize the value of money. I'll tell her I'm broke. She'll cooperate, bless her little heart. You know, I'm beginning to feel sorry for Margie already.
That's like feeling sorry for Notre Dame before the season starts.
Hey, what's the idea?
I'm keeping this check in escrow until the Seaton deal is closed, which means that this time you're keeping Margie out of it. She's put the kiss of death on many a deal before, but this time she isn't even going to get a chance to pucker.
But...
No buts. You're going to swear a solemn oath that you won't even as much as mention Mrs. Seaton's name to Margie. Now swear.
All right, I swear. Shall we sign in blood? This time we can use mine. Oh, Margie!
Hi, Dad.
Margie, get me a Band-Aid for my finger, will you? I just signed an important paper. Never mind the Band-Aid. I won't be able to afford it.
Aren't they terrific? I don't know which one of these two I want, so I put in an order for both.
Both?
You mustn't work so hard, Dad. Your nerves are getting twangy. Oh, I get it. You're upset because I put in an order for 2 cars.
Well, it just might make a man hit the bicarb, yes.
You poor darling. Naturally, I'm only going to buy one. I just tied them both up until I find out which one you like best. After all, it's your money.
Margie, I've decided to enlist your sympathy and support.
Hmm?
Oh, yes, daughter, I need your help. I admit my nerves are shattered, but I just can't afford to go to a hospital right now with things the way they are.
This sounds like Act 1 of that old economy soap opera you star in from time to time.
That's youth, joking in the face of disaster. Well, a father can't joke when he's embarrassed, when he realizes he can't provide for his only child.
Why, Dad, I believe you're serious.
I need understanding so much right now.
Well, you haven't lost your job.
Oh, well, not yet, but I'm teetering on the verge. Mr. Honeywell said as much. Only this morning I suffered a big financial loss. Slipped right through my fingers.
Dad, I didn't realize.
I know, my child. I know you wouldn't be ordering new cars if you knew the situation.
Of course not. We'll cut right down to the bare necessities. Now, the first thing to go is my allowance. You can use it for lunch money. We'll have to economize on food, too. Those steaks we're having for dinner tonight.
Oh, Margie, I forgot to tell you I'm going out...
I'll grind them up into hamburger and stretch it with a pound of soybean meal. That's it. I think I've got a recipe for an eggless, butterless, milkless cake, too. Maybe it's even flourless. I'll see.
Honey, wait! I'm going out to dinner.
Oh, but, Dad, you can't afford to eat out with things the way they are.
Well, I'm not exactly. That is, somebody is taking me to dinner.
Oh, good. Is it a client?
No, don't even mention that word. Margie, promise you won't ask me about clients or business or anything.
Poor, brave Dad. You're trying to shelter me from the ugly truth, aren't you?
Well, that's for sure. I mean, let me do the worrying. I'm going to meet a friend. We're going bowling.
Have a good time, Dad, and try not to worry too much. Things will work out, you'll see. I'll wait up for you. Bye.
Where are you going?
Over to Mrs. Odette's. She's got some wonderful meatless recipes.
More fudge cake, Margie.
Oh, no thanks, Mrs. Odette's. I've got to get used to doing without luxuries.
Look, Margie, are you sure your dad is really that broke? Well, cheer up. I was in financial reverse for years. It's not so tough.
Did your husband go broke, too?
Which one? Now, Henry, he was the first. He lost all his money in the Great Chicago Fire. My second lost his by fire, too. It burned a hole in his pocket.
You certainly picked them.
Smartest thing a gal can do is grab herself a rich man, like I did my last husband. Now, there was a love match if I ever saw one.
But you said you married for money. You call that a love match?
Sure. I love money.
Shame on you.
What's there to be ashamed of? It's just good business, that's all. In fact, your dad could solve all his problems if he just latched on to some rich widow.
Don't even say that.
Why not? He's good looking. In fact, he's pretty oomphy.
But not Dad.
Listen, there are plenty of old gals around that are really loaded. He could pick one out, pull the trigger, blam, his troubles are over.
I won't let him do it. He's sacrificed enough for me already. Why, he's given me everything, and I've been so extravagant. It's all my fault. I've been a selfish daughter, but I won't let him do this.
Hey, stop racing your motor. He hasn't done anything yet.
And he isn't going to as long as there's a breath left in me. Why, I'll scrub floors first. I'm making the sacrifices from now on, and I'm going to start right now.
Sacrifices. What I want to know is who's on first.
You must feel mighty chip with this heater, Mr. Albright.
That I do, Charlie, that I do. I'm just about to close a big deal. Won't be long now. Oh, Margie!
What the? Hi, Dad. You're home early. Didn't you go bowling?
Never mind. What on earth are you doing?
I'm liquidating my assets.
Your what?
It's really quite simple. I'm taking these things to Sam's used clothing store.
You're selling them?
Why, of course. You've made so many sacrifices for me, this is the least I can do. Now, don't worry, Dad. We'll lick this thing together.
Oh, Margie, for heaven's sake.
There. Now, you mustn't give in to false pride. There's nothing disgraceful about being poor. Oh, here's a certificate of ownership for my car. You ought to be able to get a pretty good loan on it.
Oh, Margie, you're making me feel like an awful heel.
Don't say that. You're the kindest, most generous dad in the world.
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm a low-down... What I mean is, this isn't necessary, honestly.
Well, you said we were practically penniless, didn't you?
I know I said that, but listen to me. I'm working on a deal now that'll fix everything. You can keep your car, and I may even buy you a new one.
Why, Dad, I know. You've got a business deal on.
No, I haven't. I told you not to mention business. Just believe me when I tell you everything's going to be all right. Can't you just let it go at that?
Well, after all, the money must be coming from someplace. You say it isn't a business deal, so... Hey, let me look at you. Mm-hmm. You're good looking, all right. In fact, you're pretty oomphy. Yes.
Margie, why are you staring at me like that?
Dad, tell me truthfully. Did you go bowling tonight with a woman?
A woman? Why,
Never mind. I can see it in your face.
Margie, I can truthfully say that I did not go bowling with a woman.
Then it was a client.
Yes. No. Oh, you've got me all mixed up. Margie, I refuse to answer. You've got to trust me, and that's all I'm going to say, so help me Honeywell and Todd.
Poor Dad. He can't even afford a nervous breakdown.
When you've finished with your hike, I'll take you to a movie.
I don't feel like a movie.
Oh, come on, Margie. I've got money of my own for a change. I got paid last night on my new job.
I'm glad you finally got a job. Maybe you can find one for Dad. He's going to need one pretty soon.
No, this job isn't important enough for your father, even though it is at one of the smarter hotels.
Oh, you're in the hotel business. Well, what's your job? Assistant to the manager?
Well, no, I'm an assistant in the dining room.
Oh, you're assistant to the maitre d'.
Well, not exactly. I'm sort of an assistant to the waiter. Okay, so I'm a busboy.
And what's wrong with that? At least you don't have financial worries like my poor Dad.
Didn't look to me like he had any worries last night when he was having dinner with his lady friend.
Lady friend? Freddie, you must be mistaken. Dad went bowling last night.
Oh, now look, Margie, I may not be very bright, but I know the difference between a woman and a bowling ball. And this was definitely a woman. Her name's Seton. She must be filthy with dough the way they treat her around the hotel. She lives there, you know.
She isn't by any chance a widow.
She sure is. If she was a little younger, I'd marry her myself. She's really loaded.
Oh, he's going to pull the trigger.
What are you talking about?
Don't you understand? He's marrying her for me. His final supreme sacrifice. Freddie, we're going to save him from himself.
We are?
I want you to go to that woman's hotel, track her down, and when you find her and Dad together, call me.
Well, then what?
Then we'll put in the first team.
Saida, read your future in the tea leaves, your future and your fortune.
No, thank you. Not just now.
I seem to be the only man in the place.
I hope you don't mind. This is my very favorite restaurant. You love the specialty of the house, cream Sawyer burger.
It's about time.
If it's romance they're up to, what are they doing in a creep joint like this?
Look.
You're right, Margie. If he marries that one, it'll have to be for her money.
I've got to be sure. If I could only get near that table and hear what they're saying.
When this guy's coming up. Relax. All we want to do is to borrow your rompers.
I'll pay you anything you want, just for a few minutes.
Bigger with her later. Come on.
Look, Margie.
Tea leaves, anyone? Anyone for tea leaves?
Oh, read mine, will you?
Now, you just stop worrying about my money. I'm sure you'll take care of it better than my late husband.
You're a wonderful person.
Please, I'm concentrating. As I told you yesterday, you're the type of man I respect and admire. I'm glad my future rests with you. We'll be together in Cagasaw.
You feel very strongly about this anti-gambling crusade, don't you?
Yes, and with the best of reasons. It was gambling that ruined my first marriage. I'd rather die than marry a man who gambles.
Have you got something?
I sure have, and it ain't from tea leaves.
I've got it. I know how to save poor Dad.
You mean you got another one of your ideas?
Yes, and it's a honey.
That's what I was afraid of. Be seeing you.
Oh, no, you don't. Where are you going?
Got a free reading from the gypsy in there. I'm going to meet that tall, handsome stranger halfway.
You'll just have to wait. I'm going to need all of you.
Hello? Why, no, Mr. Albright isn't with me. I left him at his office. Who is this?
If you want to get the lowdown on the kind of guy this Albright really is, go on over to his apartment at the Carlton Arms right away. Apartment 10A. Just knock 3 times. Get it? It's for dear old Cagasaw.
Knock 3 times for Cagasaw. Is this Mr. Albright's apartment?
Oh, you a friend of Better Million Albright.
Bet a million.
Come on in.
And in the stretch, it's Blue Goose by a head, Hal's Pride by a length. It's Blue Goose and Hal's Pride and Blue Goose. And the winner, Bloomer Girl. How much the mob have down on that dog?
Peanuts, only 50 G's. I laid most of it off in the small-time bookies.
Hey, Marge, we got a customer. Step right in, dearie.
Yeah, step in, babe. Get your dough on the table and your heart in your mouth. The 5th coming up at Pimlico. Hey, take over on the board, Charlie.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Mr. Albright's apartment.
On the nose, sister. He won't be in till later, though. He don't start the crap game till 11. Hey, you a friend of my old man's?
You're his daughter?
You're sure picking winners today, kid. Yep, I'm Fast Buck Margie. I run this joint for him. Biggest book in town. It ought to be. Dad's got a swell front and a broker's office downtown. That's where he ropes in the suckers. Hey, come on and meet Granny. This is Granny.
Not his mother.
Yep. Granny used to be my old man's best shill, but she's getting old now, so he keeps her on the phone.
Right. Well, sister, want to lay a few clams on the next race?
Do you know who I am?
Don't, Nita. If you're a pal of my boy, Better Million, I'll be glad to take your marker. That's an IOU to use squares.
Oh, you'll hear about this from Cagasaw.
Cagasaw? What's that? Ever hear of that, Margie?
Cagasaw. Sounds like somebody's opening a bottle of hot seltzer.
Queenie talking. Shoot.
Okay, Queenie, sharpen your pencil. 1,000 on Banker's Holiday. Yeah. 100 across on Giddy Up. Yeah. 2 G's on Baker Boy.
Who's the sport?
Here's some more.
I don't know, Louis, but
2
he's sure
grand
sucking
on,
in the moolah.
High
Must be betting for a syndicate.
He's not on one of my books, so I'd know about it.
Yeah.
I better trace it down. What's your name, Buster?
Wilson, sir. Freddie Wilson.
Thanks, Freddie. Now scram. I want to use this phone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll use the one in the drugstore on the corner.
Okay, shove off.
Hey, finally figured out the odds, huh? You ready to make a little bet?
No, that is no thank you. I was just taking a few notes. It's all so terribly interesting.
Well, if there's anything you want to know, just ask me.
I think I have quite enough. Oh, is there a telephone I could use? A private call.
Yeah, sure, in the den.
Thank you.
It's working, Mrs. Odette, it's working.
Sure is. The old buzzard's fit to be tied.
She's probably getting Dad on the phone right now, and will his poor ears burn?
Operator, give me the police. Yes, the police, and hurry.
Hey, you can't come in here.
A friend of Freddie's.
Oh, I'll get it. A friend of Freddie's. Yes, sir.
Who are you?
I'm Louie the Torpedo.
It's okay, Miss Margie. He's a friend of Freddie's.
Oh, I get it, a friend of Freddie's.
Okay, you guys spread out.
Okay, Torpedo, what's with you?
I want to know what's with you. You're running an illegal book here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's illegal about it?
It ain't one of mine.
You said it, Torpedo. This book belongs to Bet-A-Million Albright.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And who are you?
I'm Fast Buck Margie, the gangster's mole. Mule. Mall. That's what the cops call me when they can catch me.
Yeah? You got a record?
Yeah. You got a phonograph?
Okay, wise dame. Where's this Albright guy? Either he shuts down his joint or I blast him. Or maybe you want I should blast you.
Oh, don't be such a ham.
Well, all right, I must congratulate you on the way you handled the Seaton account.
Thank you, Mr. Honeywell. Now that's all settled, we can let poor little Margie off the hook.
Yeah, she can't do any damage now.
I appreciate the advice you gave me about Margie. It worked like a charm.
Dad!
Mrs. Seaton, what's going on here? I found you out for the snake you are, Bet-A-Million Albright.
Oh, so you're Albright, eh?
What is this? What's going on here?
Oh, cut it out.
Margie.
Hi, Dad.
I demand an explanation. Mrs. Seaton, if you let me take care of this...
Oh, go open the window. I'll have you before the board of Cagasort for this. Running a bookie joint with your daughter and your poor old mother slaving in your evil clutches.
Mother?
Hi, sonny boy.
I don't know what's going on around here, honest, I don't.
Oh, yeah? Don't try and weasel out of this, you dirty double-crosser.
Don't anybody move. This is a raid.
Officer Wade, I can explain. This isn't a bookie joint.
And what's Louie the Torpedo doing here? He's the biggest bookie in town.
What are you talking about? Why, he's a friend of Freddie's.
Who's Freddie?
I am. But he's no friend of mine, Margie, honest. He's a gangster. Margie! Margie, wake up.
Now, Margie, I'm not going to say anything about what happened, but you've got to promise me that you'll stay away from my clients.
Why, Dad? I explained everything to Mrs. Seaton, and she was so happy to have arrested Louie the Torpedo for dear old Cagasort that she went through with the deal.
Well, yes, but I didn't get that bonus check from Honeywell, so you still don't get that new car.
Well, didn't I tell you? Mr. Honeywell was so grateful for the way it turned out that he gave the bonus to me.
Yep, that's my little Margie.